Your intuition is your second biggest gift from God. First, you get your breath, then you get your intuition. When you connect to your intuition, your superconsciousness, or whatever you want to talk about it, your ego is managed. The more you use your intuition, when you are in your purpose, you tend to sabotage less. You tend to connect to the world more. You tend to give more, which means you tend to receive more. We need to go deeper. We need to connect to the human being. We are conditioned to not believe that we can. We're conditioned to feel inferior to others. So we decide somebody else and then we deprecate ourselves. Your purpose is definitely not perfection. But if you don't have any lessons because you've been trying to be perfect, then you're not teaching somebody, which means you're not giving back. Do what you know, live a seamless life, and attract emotional, financial, and spiritual wealth.
Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Jill Collins Connections. We are here today with someone that inspires me beyond belief. I love this woman so much. Dioh. She is incredible. Have you ever wanted to find fulfillment and be successful at the same time? This is what Victoria has achieved. She not only, in just a few short years, worked her way intuitively, as she says, up the corporate ladder, and she achieved six figures in a very short period of time. She realized she wasn't fulfilled. So she said she embarked on a journey to find out how to find fulfillment and be successful at the same time. So if you need this, and that sounds like you, stay tuned and let's dive deep in with Victoria. Victoria is a healer and African oracle. We're going to find out what that is. What she really does is she helps people fall in love, leaders, corporate executives, to fall in love with their lives again. So let's get started. And Victoria, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you.
Thanks so much, Jill. It's a pleasure. It's been a while. It's been a long time since we've spoken. So I'm excited about this.
Yes, me too. Me too. Let's dive right in. Tell us, weirdly, I'd love to go back just a little bit. How did you get started? Like when you were younger, what really inspired you? Did you know you always had some intuitive capabilities?
It's interesting you ask me this question because I've recently been doing a lot of literature around my history, and I've been speaking to the press to talk about my intuition. My earliest memory was around the age of 8, and my parents and I were in Cameroon. We'd moved back to Cameroon in West Africa, and at the time, children were meant to be seen, not heard. And one morning I woke up with this dreaded feeling, and my parents were getting ready to go out of town. And I turned to my parents and I just went, "You can't go." There was no explanation. There was no tantrum. It was very simple. With the authority that I still speak with today, you can't go. And my parents, who are not the most compliant of humans, to be fair, unpacked the car and stayed at home. Straight down. Yeah, straight down. It was like, you can't go, full stop. But like life has it, you become conditioned and you don't pay attention to what that was. And it's taken years of this journey for me to go back to that memory and go, oh, there must have been something there, because that's how I work and live now.
Amazing. And so was there something that happened in the lives of your family or of your parents that you could say, wow, they stayed and this happened?
No, it was just literally my parents. I don't know if my dad would have ever, he's passed now. I don't know if he would have ever. It took my mom a long time to pay attention to this, because my mom's a devout Christian, and as my vicar here in the UK said to me once, human beings try and separate this world. Human beings try and separate the world so that the world of spirituality and religion don't exist alongside. However, if you read the Bible or any other spiritual book, you'll find that they work very closely to each other. For example, if you look at Mary and Jesus, that story, and how Mary had a vision or Joseph had a vision and all of that. It's like people have visions all the time, but we are taught that 1 + 1 = 2, and that's the only explanation.
Yeah. And so we have to learn to trust our intuition. So I think sometimes maybe it's not so much what you saw that transformed, but maybe what could have happened had they have gone. Maybe there was something that was avoided that you may never know the answer to. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, completely. And here's the thing, and stuff, it's even in business today, one of the things that I do right now is I work with professional and business leaders to help them tap into their intuition. So how do you use your intuition to have a meeting go your way? How do you use your intuition to close the deal that you strongly desire? How do you attract the humans in your organization who are going to pivot your business and create an amicable working environment? It's all about intuition. However, if you're only using your head, what tends to happen then is that Tony Robbins says, in your head, you're dead. And to work with your heart, you're smart. It's the same thing. It's like businesses have proven, I think this is a Forbes survey, that 78% of businesses report more progress when they use their intuition than not.
Okay. So if we look at intuition in business, because a lot of people are like, I've never heard of this concept. I run a major corporation. I have a lot of businesses. I'm very successful. I've even found some enlightenment. Maybe I meditate. I'm relatively fulfilled. But what is it that we're missing? And is there something that maybe we've been doing all along that we just didn't realize we were using our intuition and we're not calling it intuition? What does it look like in practical terms in the corporate world that someone might be already doing it and they don't even realize it?
So in layman's terms, it's that knowing. It's the knowing. So if you speak to someone like Steve Jobs, when he talks about his business or Apple that he used to work for, it came to the point where he would ask people to stop using their heads to make decisions and to look at the technology that he was about to introduce. And he actually started to penalize people who would only come in and use their head, because we're like, that's too logical. We need to go deeper. We need to connect to the human being. We need to connect to the human being to know that a human being would strongly desire a gadget that would hold 8,000 pieces of music and go running with, and still want more music added onto there. There are certain ideas that you go, that was genius. Genius is you using your superconsciousness. That's what genius is. So if you look at people, I love it when people are so enthralled by Tony Robbins. And I remember seeing him 7 years ago, and he stood in a room and he could literally look at someone and read them, and people go, oh my goodness, it's amazing. And I remember saying to somebody, you can do that. But here's the thing, we are conditioned to not believe that we can. We're conditioned to feel inferior to others. So we edify somebody else and then we deprecate ourselves. Your intuition is your second biggest gift from God. First, you get your breath, then you get your intuition. That's why a child will be able to see way more than you can see, feel more than what you can feel. If you look into pranic healing, the speciality of Master Ko, and his teacher, Master Choi Kok Sui, if you look at those teachings, they talk about children being able to see energy a lot quicker, because children still hold on to their intuition. However, as soon as they're born, they go into the school of conditioning. So you get told how to think, you get told how to feel, whether it's based on your family's beliefs, whether it's based on your family's fears, loves, conditions, fears, loves, and then you find yourself being in conflict with yourself because you don't know what to believe. So you find what works for you.
Because I think what happens, isn't it, that we are so used, especially in the Western world, we have to back everything up with facts. So we have to use proven methods. We don't want to try something. And I think that happens a lot of times especially as I get older, I'm learning about my intuition in the past few years. And it's this, sometimes it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of self-love to be willing to trust the intuition, because I may say, I'm doing this YouTube channel and people are like, why don't you monetize it? You need to make money doing that. And I'm like, doesn't feel right. And everyone's, oh, but you can't do something like that without getting paid for. I'm like, I know in my heart, this is where I'm supposed to be. Right. And there may be another way to deal with it at some point, but it's going against the grain sometimes and having the courage and the self-love and the trusting, like trusting ourselves to know that I'm making the right decision here. It can happen in love relationships. It can happen in business choices we make. Like you said, who we bring on board. Everyone could say, this guy's awesome, we need to hire him. And you're going like, nope. And then as the leader, to be able to say that and be willing to take the flack for the fact that your decision might ruffle some feathers. There's this all-knowing in your soul that you just really have to tap into.
So I'll say this though, I want to remove the word trust from it.
Okay.
Because trust is another human emotion that controls the situation to make us feel better. How about we just get rid of the trust and just say, this is it. This is it.
This is it.
So for example, I went to a healing conference a week ago, and I was driving, and there was an opportunity in Canada that I really wanted to go to. I was like, I want to go there. I don't know how it's going to work, but I want to go. And I started using the tools and techniques from my heal method that I teach other people. And I'm driving, so I'm focused on the road and I'm doing this and I'm going, I want to go. I haven't budgeted for this. I've got a lot going on at the moment. I've got events happening. I'm speaking on stage, like literally, I don't know where this is going to fit in.
You don't know what you broke up there. You don't know what?
Sorry. I didn't know where this was going to fit in, like this whole event that I wanted to do in Canada. So I go to this event, I come back, and on my way back, I continue this process. And when I get home, there was the most humongous check waiting for me. There's no logic as to why that check was waiting for me at that time. It had nothing to do with trust. It all had to do with, this is what I wanted. I was very specific about what I wanted to do. I was very specific. It had nothing to do with trust. It was literally my consistency around talking about it to myself, to God, to whatever you would believe in, and say, this is what I want to do and why I want to do it. As human beings, we're very selfish. So a lot of the time we come from a place of lack. It's based on, I don't have this, so I want this. I don't have X, so I want X, rather than seeing how it's going to help somebody else, how it's going to benefit somebody else. So this was me saying, look, this is what I want to do. I don't know how I'm going to get there. This is how I want to do it. And guess what? As soon as the check arrived, even though I manifest as much as I do, and I still was like, wow, this is amazing. I sat down, and what came to me in my intuition was, is this the best way to use this money? And after sleeping on it for about 12 hours, what came to me was, this was a test, because I manifest very quickly. I want stuff, it happens. I want stuff, it happens. And it was like, maybe you're getting things a bit too easily now. So what's the best way to use this? You can book your flight tomorrow, but how can you best serve the world with this, as opposed to just saving yourself and maybe somebody else who is going to get supported by a whole lot of other people? So how do you distribute that wealth so that somebody else can benefit from this who wouldn't have benefited? So I'm not going to Canada anymore. That's the secret of manifestation. That's the secret of tapping into your intuition. It's being aware. And I think sometimes we see intuition as our power for our benefit, as opposed to our power to serve the world.
Mm.
It's not about you. It's never about you. Never is.
It's never about you. And it's really tapping into that is when we're manifesting is how can I, the thing that I want, you said, and why. And it's not about trust. You said it's actually about how can it serve the greater good.
Amen.
It's my, what I want tied into not just for me, but it's an externally focused mindset where it's how can it impact, how can I get what I want that's going to also impact the world?
100%. Once I finish with you, I'm going to be speaking to about 700 people online about intuition and creating sustainable wealth. In your head, you're thinking of wealth from a place of material stuff. It's what you don't have. It's what somebody maybe didn't allow you to have when you were younger. So your ego drives what's in your head. It doesn't mean that everything in your head is wrong. It means, though, that you're letting your emotions drive your life. When you connect to your intuition, your superconsciousness, or whatever you want to talk about it, your ego is managed. So you can actually take your ego and put it to the side and go, okay, we know that your ego will always be here for the rest of my life. But guess what? I'm tapped into such a higher frequency that I am going to create the world that I desire. And then the ego can come back in. So we all have egos. We all do. And I find it quite amusing when people say, I don't have an ego. Everybody does. You're born with it. That's the reason
That's
why.
your ego talking.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you're on this earth. But the secret is, being on this earth, you have to marry the two and then be able to control the two and go, okay, I get that this is my ego. I get where she's sat. But how do I then quieten her down and tap into a higher frequency to do what I was put on this earth for? It's like people talk about purpose. People talk about it. The more you're in your purpose, the more you use your intuition. Like when you're in your purpose, when you're not, it doesn't mean you can't make it when you're not in your purpose. But when you are in your purpose, you tend to sabotage less. You tend to connect to the world more. You tend to give more, which means you tend to receive more.
That's beautifully said. I love that because I think that's so true. I've experienced that in my own life with doing something like this where I know I'm in my purpose. There's no feeling of, surprisingly, like this feeling of like imposter syndrome or what will people think. It's just that all-knowing. It's that, and you're right, it has nothing to do with trust. Trust is that hope that means I'm not there. And I love that distinction that you just gave us. Fascinating, because it's just that all-knowing. It is what it is. And so when we're not, there's so much more friction and resistance, and it's almost like pushing and forcing things to happen, versus when we're in alignment, when we're in that purpose, when we're even taking purpose to breaking that down a little bit, is purpose is when we're where we're supposed to be, with whom we're supposed to be with, doing it with what we're supposed to be doing. And when it feels right, and when we know that, or when we're in that space, things just flow. And then because our inner being, we know this, we have the ability, there's no lack. We just go, I have an abundant amount of just energy, of just whatever. And there's this need to want to give more, not out of in order to get back, but out of just, it's overflowing. Versus there's this friction. It's almost, I've only got so much of this here, so I can't really get, it's that living in scarcity versus abundance. It's that feeling of scarcity. Like, I only have so much of this here. I can't give too much because I'm going to run out. And we are in our flow and we're in that purpose. It's this, it's just bring it. And then stuff just starts showing up because it's natural alignment. We're in our zone of genius, as Dr. Gay Hendricks says, which I love that so much, is that it's effortless.
Yeah, 100%. It's quite interesting actually, because a lot of people feel very bad for not connecting to their purpose. And this is what I say. Your purpose has found you way before you're ever going to find your purpose. Way before. You just don't realize it. So keep on going and it will knock on your door. It is the most freeing thing you've ever imagined, but also it's going to be the most difficult journey you're going to ever live, because you're going to be tested. You're going to be trialed, because I think there is the misconception that finding your purpose means that life becomes easier. That's not true. Life becomes more seamless. It doesn't become easier. What do I mean by that? Is that you will encounter conflict with yourself, with others. You're going to be tested to see how much you really want and desire this purpose and how committed you are. Because not everybody really wants their purpose. I didn't. I literally got dragged into my purpose kicking and screaming. There was no, I could not understand how anybody could heal with their hands. I couldn't understand how people could come to me and ask to be healed and get healed and give me money for it. It didn't make sense. I was the most logical person you could imagine. 1 + 1 = 2, and that was it. So to be taught anything else was completely outside my comfort zone. Now, the seamlessness is when you are in your purpose, when you ask for something, when you decide that this is what I would desire, this is what I would love, you'll be amazed at what doors open up. You'll be amazed at what doors open up. Honest to goodness, just this week alone, when I talk to my clients about what I have created, I'm not just talking sales, I'm talking opportunities. I was telling you before we came on, I'm running this event and I got gifted a multi-million-pound home to host this event in the countryside in the UK. Do you know what it means for somebody to gift you a home and say,
use my space for an event?
Use my space for an event. It doesn't happen. And so much more has happened this week. And I know it's because I am doing what I was put on this earth to do. And each day, step by step, you just put one foot in front of the other. And if you're not going in the right direction, you will be steered into another one. It's not about getting things right. This isn't about getting things right. I think we confuse ourselves and think that purpose equals perfection. It's not. Your purpose is definitely not perfection. We don't want perfection. We want people who are going to learn. We want people who are going to fail, because your failings, your lessons are what you're going to be able to teach the people that come after you and show them the road. But if you don't have any lessons because you've been trying to be perfect, then you're not teaching somebody, which means you're not giving back.
I love that. And so purpose does not equal perfection. And so if we are in that space, and I want to go back before we go to this, but go back to what you said about intuition, or not intuition, but knowing our purpose and it being difficult. Because I think the resistance comes when we, again, are not tapped in to knowing who we are. And then that belief or understanding is that that ego really kicks in and says, who do you think you are? Whatever our story is, whatever those messages, those tapes that we have, that will go in and prevent us. And even when we do start to get on the journey, we might get what we have, these like shiny objects that might show up along the side of the road. And we're like, oh, am I supposed to do this too? And then, and I am the worst squirrel chaser ever. It's like, squirrel. I'm like, oh, hey, let's do this too. Let's do this program at the same time. Hey, someone invited me to do a podcast and launch another one. No, it's having that all knowing is we're going to be tested, you said. And those tests that come in that way, they go, hey, are you sure? You sure you like this? You sure you don't want to do this instead? Or why don't you do it all? Maybe you can do this too. You have time for that. And you're like, because I think our thoughts, I had someone say this to me a while back, is they literally could see my intuition, like knowing, and I would say, this isn't for me. And then they could see my thoughts talk myself out of my intuition. Like, it's a no. It's, you know what, you can do that. It's not that bad. Come on now. And we've got to be able to see that, have such self-awareness sometimes to be able to see when that's going on and see the conversation that's going on. But in the background is like the ego is going, you don't want to do that. That's stupid. What are you doing that for? And then 5 minutes later, this is where I love this part, is when we have this, our mind goes, it gives us the opposite. It's like, you don't want to be with that guy. It's, you know what, you should be with that guy. 5 minutes later, and you're like, wait, which is it? So we get such confusion. That's when we got to say, stop everything, go inside and say, what's right for me? And then stick with that and trust. I don't want to use the word trust, but believe that, know it. And then don't second guess yourself when you're sitting there going through all these things and people start coming your way. And if we have the potential to be triggered by people and worry what people think, judgment from others, be aware of that in ourselves and say, someone's going to say, oh, I can't believe you're doing that. That's dumb. And you're like, oh, if my dad says one word to me about something derogatory, I'm like, and I'm like, okay, notice the trigger, step back. It's okay. It's still okay. It's like certain people we know and certain things in certain places we know are going to cause us to pause. And we just have to stay on that path and believe and know that we're in that. The intuition's powerful.
Yeah, it's funny that you brought up relationships because it's one of the biggest distractors in our lives, whether it's friends, whether it's romantic relationships. People come in to distract us from our purpose all the time. And one of my teachers told me years ago that if you get presented with an opportunity, if that opportunity does not align with the end result that you are going for, it's a no. It's that simple. So when I get invitations, I always ask myself, what am I going to go there and do? What am I getting out of it? And what am I going to give? And if it has nothing to do with my end result of my purpose, I don't go. It's that simple. And I made a decision like that on Tuesday this week, when I had the opportunity to go and have a great time somewhere, or to go and have possibly an unknown time somewhere else, but to meet people who were not in my comfort zone and I didn't know what it was going to look like. Or I could go where I knew most of the people and have a great time. And it was actually a really tough decision because I made a decision and then had FOMO, fear of missing out, of going to the other thing that I knew I was going to have fun. But guess what? It's because I decided to go with my intuition that I went and then ended up being gifted the space that I now have for my events.
Wow.
So you see, this can't be a coincidence.
No.
It can't be. You know, there's so much more than what we see that's out there. And if we just quieten our minds, we can hear it. We can quieten our minds. And when we say hear it, it's not necessarily through your ears. You can hear it from your heart. You can feel it in your body, in your sensations. That's why meditation is so good, because you're giving yourself the opportunity to quieten billions of bits of information that goes through your mind on a daily basis, and adding to the few thousands that you retain. But you need to be able to give yourself that opportunity. If you don't, you are going to be running with your head until the day you die. And here's the thing. If you're running with your head until the day you die, and you are not allowing yourself that gap for space, then you're going to be like a computer that's jammed because there's no more memory.
Wow. Yeah, that makes total sense to me. I think as we age, I can definitely attest to that, how it can feel that way. Well,
We're all aging, right?
Yes, we are. Everyone. It's amazing how that happens. No one's unique. We're all the same in that.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell us a little bit about, more specifically, for someone who's listening and they're going, I do have success, or I'm wanting to be successful, and I just am a little bit stuck. What is it specifically that you offer, that you do, that makes you unique, that you can help someone who's really faced with that? You have Manifestation Kitchen, I know, and I would love to hear what that is. And just tell us a little bit about how you work and what you do.
You've mentioned before that I'm an African oracle, that I'm a healer. So just to give some context, I have been anointed underneath the mountains of Africa and sponsored by 3 pranic healer masters of the world. There's only 8. Your audience will know Master Co. There's 2 other masters as well that were part of that journey. And
is Dell one of them? A guy named Dell?
No. The other couple are Mr. and Mrs. Mendoza, or Masters Mendoza, should I say.
Okay.
Very powerful healers, all part of pranic healing. And what does that mean? It means that I am a seer and a healer. And here's the thing, when you get gifted something like that, you still don't know what it means. You still don't know what you're going to do. And Master Co was the conduit for that, to actually make that happen.
Okay.
I created Manifestation Kitchen because throughout my journey from being a corporate leader, because I'd gone quite high in the corporate world, to then losing everything because I was like, there's something else out there, and building my life back, I just kept on manifesting stuff. And my hands kept on cooking, and they kept on creating these beautiful recipes for people, whether it was in food or in healing. So what do? So I have a heal method, and the heal method is part of energy healing, food, manifestation, mindset and abundance, and self-love. And it's a framework that I use to help you to create life design strategies so that you can discover your purpose, do what you love, live a seamless life, and attract emotional, financial, and spiritual wealth.
Wow. That's pretty comprehensive. Very comprehensive. Yep. And so I know you've done a lot with food and helping people find things that are recipes, ways to cook that really bring out that the energy and good positive, right? It's healthy eating. So it's really serving the body, the body itself. And then energy work, and then mindset abundance, and then self-love. So that's incredible. You have your podcast that you were doing, and you're doing lots of cool content.
Yeah, so the podcast went to sleep for a while, and it's about to be resurrected. I just manifested a podcast hub where I can go and record. There you go. So we shall see. But yes, the podcast is coming back next year. But people who come to me, leaders who come to me, are successful. It's not that they're not successful. It's that they are not fulfilled. There's something missing. So they're asking themselves, what next? Something's missing. I don't know how to connect to my life. And that's where I was 7 years ago. I was that person. I was making hundreds of thousands of pounds, but I knew my life wasn't serving me. So I help you to find your purpose. Actually, you come to me and I will help you find your purpose. And then you then connect your intuition, and you start to create better relationships, powerful relationships. You start to attract the right people into your life. You start to enhance the relationships that were there before. You also will find that you're getting rid of relationships that no longer serve you, as well as, with the help of food, be able to connect to yourself more higher. So I'll just give you a very quick example.
Yeah, I'd love one. That'd be great.
Very busy, and it's very easy for us to get a takeout. And here's the thing, I don't care how healthy a takeout is. I don't know anyone who works for a takeout organization that loves working in a takeout organization, because you're cooking for multiple people. So there becomes a point where you may love your business, but the activity of cooking it's a chore. It's a means to an end. As opposed to your mom cooking for you, or your dad cooking for you, or your loved one cooking for you with love, with attention, knowing that it's going into Jill's mouth. Like, I'm cooking this for Jill.
Yeah. It's personal.
Energetically, I don't need to tell you how that feels, because just me describing that tells you that. So I move people away from that and make sure that either I'm doing the cooking, or I commission the cooking, or I then prescribe the food, so that they can start to feel more connected.
I love that.
So if there's somebody stressed and they're cooking your food, you are going to pick up elements of that stress.
Interesting.
It's all energy. It's all energy. So why would you then have that food? And it's really funny. I'd rather have a bar of chocolate that I made myself than have a plate of salad cooked by somebody who didn't enjoy making that salad and was stressed out and was unhappy in their job.
Yeah, I would not want someone who's unhappy in their job, for sure.
Exactly. When we put all of these into a pot to cook with your mindset around abundance, how to think, what to think, rather than thinking to yourself, oh, do you know what? I would really love this. Saying thank you for having this, gratitude. People throw gratitude around, but there's deep practices around gratitude. I think I'm giving away my free meditation on
You are,
receiving.
yes. And I was going
Yeah.
to mention a couple of these things before we wrap up, is that you do have a wonderful meditation on receiving that will be in the links below, as well as people can book an intro call with you to get to know you and see what might fit for them with all of your programs. I'm also going to drop a link in there of all of your offerings that you've provided so perfectly on a one page, which is so cool. And there's also one other question I had is about before we wrap up, your manifestation pattern quiz. I took that this morning and I was looking at it and it was fascinating. I found out that I am a visualizer manifester, but I think there's that free quiz, and I love the video you do at the end to explain more about what each category is, in our profile, who we are. And so that's a really cool tool. You want to tell us about that?
So I'm always looking at ways to connect with my audience. And as a business owner, it's not always easy because you have thousands of people on your email list. You're like, I want to keep on getting to know you. I want to keep on getting to see how I can help you. I'm bringing you into my world. Yes, it's a business, but if I don't know you, we don't have a relationship. So one of the great ways is to create quizzes, because quizzes allow me to go, okay, so she's a visualizer, which is great, because I know now that when I do meditations with you, I don't have to worry about you connecting anything else. However, there may be some other elements that you're struggling with to bring into your life. So I'll know what level you're at that I can work with you on, and also what programs to invite you into. Meanwhile, somebody else who is coming from a different angle of a pattern may need more attention, more borderline or basic attention, and they can come onto one of my introductory pieces of work. And in some cases, it may be that they just need to book healing sessions to get rid of the stress, to get rid of the anxiety, to get rid of those ailments that aren't serving them, whether they're physical or mental. So that quiz gives me a lot of information. And funnily enough, we're about to just create another one. And I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah, this one is going to be about how you connect to your business. And we came up with the name yesterday, and I'm very excited for it.
Yes, I can't wait to hear. Definitely, when you get by the time we launch the interview, get the links in there too, if it's ready. And one other thing, you have a 1-day retreat coming up in the UK. 2-day, 3-day.
It's 3 days, 2 nights, 3 days in the countryside.
And it's called Presence. That's the one at the house.
It's called Presence. Yes.
Yay.
Presence. It's how to take your personality, your presence, and connect with the world. So the reason why I created it is because wherever I go, people comment on how I show up energetically in my clothes and everything else. And none of this was planned. It just is. But how do you take that and create the opportunities that you really desire? And I've seen a lot of people go to events where they would love to meet somebody that they admire. And when they get there, they turn into a wallflower and leave without taking that opportunity. They see someone that they really want to talk to, that they think, you know what, I have something that could help this person with their life, with their business. And again, they freeze and then never do that. And what I want people to do is to stop leaving money on the table, on the emotional table. I want people to stop leaving money on the emotional table and connect to themselves so that they can pivot their personality. So that's what Presence is about. It also comes with strategizing 2024 from an intuitive perspective. So if you are in a business and stuff, you get to learn how to strategize your life, and then you also get shown how to find your purpose. So if you don't think you have a purpose and you come to this event, you will find your purpose by the end of the 3 days with me.
I love it. I love it so much. That is so amazing. Victoria, it's a pleasure, and I just love being in your space. It is so true. Your energy, it just is so infectious, and I'm always left feeling so invigorated and so inspired. to want to do more, be more, and to really align and be present. So thank you for coming today and being on our stage and on the show. And I appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thanks so much for having me on. I've had so much fun. I wish we could go on forever, but hey,
Yes, yes. I know you have another event, so we've got to get you out in time. But thank you everyone for watching today. Please give us some comments. Let us know what you think of this. If you have some questions for Victoria, she will answer them right here. So feel free to drop some comments and let me know what you'd like more of, what you'd like to see more of as well. And definitely like, share, and subscribe to the channel as we build our audience and get even more amazing speakers. Having a bigger following and subscriber base helps us get better speakers. So keep it coming. All right. Thanks everyone. Get connected. Take care.